Welcome to another episode of the Author Spotlight. This is the show for those change agents, those planet shakers, those who are taking it to what? Yes, the next level. I'm your host with the most, your man, Darren M. Palmer. Excited because I got my pen and my pad ready. I'm ready to learn. I got my main man, Memphis on the finest himself, your Royal Highness. I got my main man, Lawrence Thompson, on today. I'm so excited about Lawrence. Lawrence is he's an author. He has his own TV show. He got stuff going on with clothing line. I mean, if you name it, he can claim it. He's doing it. I mean, he's really doing it. And that's why we have this show, to take you behind the scenes, because a lot of you might have seen him with his own show. A lot of you might have seen us on the flyers together with Greatness Awaits conference. He did several things with us there. I know a lot of you are still talking about it, those who were in Dallas, those who were in Houston, Memphis, and the other places that he's been. But more importantly, you might have caught him on Facebook Live on his own page, or found something with him on TV station as you were traveling. I mean, he's all over. So I'm just glad that we were able to lock him down. And I just want to tell you, Lawrence, I really, really appreciate you coming on, man, because some of these people don't know. They don't know who I'm on live with, who I'm having an interview with today. They don't know, but I know, and those who know you know. So I just want to just lay out the red carpet right now, because a lot of you will be saying, Darren, where did this guy come from? I already told you from Memphis. So don't get mad at me. You'll be wondering where he's been all your life, because this guy is truly a motivator. He's an encourager, and more importantly, that he is who he say he is. He's a genuine guy. He's kind-hearted, he's loving, but at the same time, he's a go-getter. He's ferocious, and if he rocks with you, he's down like 4 flats on the Cadillac. I had to throw that in there for Memphis, man. I had to pop my collar real quick. I'll be behind the scenes. So other than that, I shared a little bit about you, Lawrence, but could you go more in depth with our audience today and share with them a little bit more about yourself? And don't hold back. I mean, this is behind the scenes. So we want to know about the clothing line. We want to know about you as an author. We want to know all these things, and then we'll get into some of the other parts of the interview.
Yeah, well, Darren, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on. I do not take this for granted, to have an opportunity to also speak to the people that are going to be connected on here and listening. So I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, you did a really good job to kind of lay it out. So I'm trying to be like, okay, how do I put the icing on this? Do I squeeze a little bit flour on it? I don't know. but like you said, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised here, grew up here. Single parent home. Not was like my dad wasn't in my life, but he was there, and all that good stuff. Had a pretty good, family dynamic. But we lived in in an area where crime and all was there. You know what I'm saying? And like most of us do, we live in that area. And I was in a place where I was one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? I had the option of sell drugs or go to school. You know what I'm saying? So those career options was there. But I was a real knucklehead, and my mom kicked me out the house. And when my mom kicked me out the house, which I say is the best thing that ever happened to me, I ended up joining the military. And when I joined the military in 1998, that was like the moment that my life really, changed. Really, it transformed everything that I do today. And so I've been in the military now for about 14 years. I did 2 tours overseas. And in the military, that's when I discovered, like, you must know who you are. I didn't know who I was. I was just kind of going around with everybody. But I was at ringleader. I was the hype guy, but, I bring everybody around, but I didn't know who I was. And then I gave my life to Christ. And when I gave my life to Christ, I started to discover, like, yo, there's a purpose that you have. But I didn't know what that purpose was, It was like, well, what is that thing? But I knew I had something inside me, something that was kicking me. It was talking to me, but I couldn't identify what it was. So over the years, I got under different guys and mentors, and I discovered that, I can actually speak. And people get inspired. Like, people are like really touched by, me talking. And I'm like, wow, but I'm thinking like, well, I'm just talking. But I realized that my gift is that I have a heart to connect with people. And so when they're there in that moment, or when they're next to me, or when I'm next to them, I really picture myself like in their shoes, and then I connect with where they at. I don't try to be like a speaker that I want to tell you all my ideas. I want to hear your ideas.
Come on,
And then
man.
I embrace those and listen to them. Then I can tell you what I did, or I can just be just a listener, you know? And so I saw that happening and I was like, wow. But I didn't think it was a gift. But then I started watching other speakers and I saw other people talking to other people. And I started to see that, you know, people really didn't have a heart for that person that they was talking to.
Oh, okay. You own something now. You own something.
And so I started to say, you know what? If I ever get an opportunity to speak to people, I need to value the mic. I need to value their time. I need to value that opportunity that I get to, because at this moment and at that time, I'm able to cause a thought to change, or I'm able to ignite something in their life. So I got to take this speaking, you know, very valuable. And so I can't just be a person that just want to get on the stage and start talking. I got to make sure that I'm connected with them. And so I really ingrained myself with this scripture, was about when God said, he who has a pure heart shall see God. And I would quote that over and over again. And a lot of my friends were like, yeah, you know, when we get to heaven and when we, you know, and I'm like, no, I don't see it like that. I know I'm going to see God when I get to heaven. That's guaranteed. But why did he say that? And I start to really analyze that scripture, and it say, to me, it's saying, he who see God in anything. And so I start to look for God in anything. I don't care how wicked they are. I don't care how wayward they are. I don't care how downtrodden they are. I don't care how successful they are. I look for God and I go right after that, and it hits spots on every time. So then, you know, I started to do what I had to do. About 2008, I got married. And I got married in 2008. And when I got married, everything, I'm thinking everything is cool, everything's gonna happen. You know, life is just start coming together.
Fairy tale life.
Right. You know, the song was good. You know, it's like everything was happening. And then by the time I got to 2012, life just punched me dead in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, what is going on? I'm not out here cheating. I'm not out here doing anything. I'm trying to figure out what just happened. And my marriage was gone.
Wow.
And when it was over, I couldn't stomach it. And I'm sitting there like, but as long as you motivate, you talking, you inspiring, and all this stuff, won't you inspire yourself? And I couldn't. Wow. I couldn't tell myself to get up. I couldn't tell myself to do what it is. So I started sabotaging myself. And it turned ugly to where I lost everything. Like literally every single thing I lost. I'm sleeping in ladder wells now. I'm you know, looking for a job. I'm looking for food. I'm going from house to house to friends, family, you know, and I'm like, I just had this amazing opportunity, amazing life, and all of a sudden I go to zero. And it was like, wow, this stuff sucks. You know, it doesn't feel good. It's not where I want to be. So I was stuck in this rut for like almost 2 years. And I'm like, man, I got to get out of this. And it wasn't until I went and I saw a soccer game. And when I saw a soccer game with my little cousin, I was like, okay, I'm here to support you, do what it is, but somebody call her a sore loser. And when they call her a sore loser, I was like, why would you call her a sore loser? You know, that's family. You don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, like you said, we from the South. We don't do that.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
Right. And so I'm like, I'm about to confront this. And then I have an aha moment. And I said, to me, I said, God, open my eyes to this. And I asked the question, if I become a sore loser, what can I do? And I started looking at all the things that sore losers do. They complain, they talk about it, they put a lot of energy and all that stuff. I was like, what if I change it to make sore loser being an amazing thing and take that energy and do what I need to do to get out of stuff? And so, man, I took that mentality and I was like, I'm a sore loser. And they was like, you don't want to do that. I said, yes, I do. I said, the reason why I do it, I took it back to when I played football. When I lost against a team, I'm in the gym. I'm looking at film. I'm like, this ain't going to happen no more. I got better because I was a sore loser. I said, you know what? It's going to help me get better. So then that came onto the track, and I started back speaking. I started back getting into it. And so now all this stuff that we talked about at the beginning is starting to snowball and coming up with books and speaking on TV and on radio and different podcasts and going from city to city talking, and it's been amazing.
Awesome. Could you share with us why the Sore Loser book? Just share with us some of the books that you've already created, and tell us a little bit about the new book that you have that's coming out. Could you share that with us, Lawrence?
Cool. Yeah. So I wrote a book called Sore Loser. And this book was very, very straightforward. It was about my life, but why this concept, Sore Loser, is one of the most secret passions that you have. And I titled it The Secret Passion We Have because most times we are told to deny that. Deny them. Don't be a sore loser. Deny that. Get rid of that. Get it out your system. And I'm like, but when you really embrace that and embrace that emotion, it causes something to happen to you that you get a lot more focused. You get a lot more in the trenches. And so don't deny that you're a sore loser. Don't deny that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to be coupled with the right character. You can't have the wrong character and be a sore loser because then you'll take it the wrong way. You'll start doing stuff that, that is so out there that it offend people. But if you take the right character saying, I'm only using this emotion to help fuel where I need to go, then that's what you need to use it for. A lot of times people talk about deny your emotions because they're not real. Well, they are real. They are real because that's why I have them. If they wasn't real, they wouldn't show up. So they are real. It just, I got to have the right character when that emotion shows up. If I don't have the right character with that emotion, then I'm going to do something that I'm going to regret or I'm not going to like at the end. And so in that book is to say, take this emotion and listen to it and go after what it is that you're trying to do. One of the key things that I put in there is say, yes, it happened. Now what you going to do? A lot of times we try to deny it. We like, oh, this just didn't really, I was that. This just didn't happen to me. I know this just did not happen to me. I know this, and I would kept saying it over and over. But then when I sat down, I said, you know what, Lawrence? Yes, it did happen. Now what you going to do? Then I start putting a plan in place. I accepted that it happened, and I start putting a plan in place to go and do what I got to do. So that was my first book that I actually done. The second book, which I'm super excited about this one, it's about building a foundation. So it's 4 keys about building a foundation to a successful life. And I call it the transforming 4 Ds. And the reason why I say that is I take these 4 Ds that I use in my life to really get to where I'm at now, to present day. And the 4 Ds is discovery, decision, daring, and drive. And a lot of times, when I'm saying all those things, people get the warm and fuzzy. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah," but I get to the nitty gritty of these words, and what I do is I use a lot of conflicting statements in the book that force you to have to wrestle with the idea. A lot of times when we read in books, we want something to pep us up and pick us up, which is great, but we need something that's gonna force us to look at a different idea, a different thought, and you got to wrestle with this. You got to be like, yo, I got to put this down, man. I just heard something. I got to put this down. And one of the key things I said in there was like, I want you to be selfish. And a lot of people are like, what? I can't be selfish. Like, once again, that's a negative word. We got negative connotation about it. But when we think about it, all the time we always say, if I don't have myself right, I can't be right for somebody else. So you being selfish so that you can take care of yourself so that you can be selfless later. So that in the end, you can be selfish later. So I say be selfish right up front. When you're building this foundation, when you're trying to lay this foundation for it, you have to be selfish. And I brought out different points about different people like Walt Disney. They told him he couldn't, do this, and he wasn't great, and this mouse was not going to work. And if he would have listened to everybody and then become selfish, his family wouldn't be doing what he's doing, or we wouldn't having jobs and all that stuff, and we wouldn't be enjoying Disney World. Everybody in Disney World, hopefully, so he became selfish in his ideas and doing this. So this next book, I'm so excited because, in the military, I build foundations, and I know what goes into that and what it does to make a really good foundation. And I use that same mentality when I said, listen, this is what you need to start from. Now, I'm not saying I'm absolutes. I'm not using absolutes. I'm just saying I use these different ideas and opinions that I have to build a foundation to where now I'm having opportunities that's like I can't explain the opportunities that's showing up.
And I just want to take this to this would be a perfect segue to go into for those who are listening. This is the reason why we have this show. This is behind the scenes. I mean, this is as you know how I get down with this, Lauren. This is raw and uncut like USDA steaks, you know. So we want you to understand that this is not here for us just to give you a little cute show. This is to let you know this is real. This is a real author's life. This is Lauren. Like, I mean, it's not a joke. He's not playing with you. He's been authentic. He's being transparent. And for a lot of you out there, it's the fakeness that's holding you up. It's about what you have wrapped your mind around, this false ideology of how you think it's supposed to go. You steady seeing that it's not working for you. But instead of you cutting that off, unshackling yourself by using the keys that's in your mind to take you to a new destination, you're still acquiescing back to the old you, or to the mindset of whoever raised you, or the environment or city you came from, or whatever culture you came from, or religion, and you letting that hold you back from being the best you. And so we're seeing Lawrence share with us that wasn't an ideal situation. He didn't come to you and just say, "Oh, I got my millionaire shirt on. This is how I'm doing. I'm big ball and shout calling." He's telling you some deep, dark places that he went to. It wasn't ideal for Lawrence just to get on here and tell you, you know what, man, I was doing great and I fell off. A lot of people never tell you about the fall off stories.
Yeah.
Think about that. Don't shout me down while I'm preaching good. That's one of his favorites right there. That's his favorite right there. So, but I'm bringing that to your attention because by being able to self-assess, realizing that he couldn't continue to deceive himself into believing that something that wasn't going on was going on anymore, he was able to then pick himself up. He was able to do something similar as a book that I know of about a prodigal. He came to himself.
Yeah. And
a lot of us find ourselves in a hog pen of life, whether it be through bad debt, bad credit, bad relationships, bad decisions that we made, bad habits, whatever it may be. But this is not just about books, but this is a part of an author's journey to be able to reach his full potential. And I want you to take out of these lessons the things that he's sharing with us and find out how can you come out of your hog pen? How can you have your prodigal moment? How can you come to your senses and realize, you know what, I can do better than this? And I want to ask you this because you've written more than one book. And a lot of people out there are thinking to themselves, wow, man, I can't even do one book. I mean, this guy's doing shows. He's getting an ample amount of opportunities to be out and go and speak. He's on the road. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's a part of, the greatest service, armed service in the world, by being a part of the United States Army. So could you share with them just with you growing up first? Let's just go here first. Two-part question. How did you believe that you could even write a book coming from the environment that you grew up in? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a lot of authors that live next door to you that you was able to watch and see. And then secondly, answer, what made you believe that you could do it when it came time for you to be an author and to write the actual book? Could you answer those two questions for us?
Yeah, like you said, there was no authors next to me. There was no authors next door. I don't know anybody that was an author. I'm the first author in my family.
Wow! So, congratulations, man.
Hey, appreciate it. And to be straight honest, I thought I could not write a book. I was a student that got good grades because of the girl that sat in front of me. I was a good student because I was able to, look on somebody else's paper real quick, get the answers and keep it moving, And so when it came to, thinking about I can have all the English, whatever we have, make sure there's no double negatives and all the irregular verbs and all that stuff and make sure all that wasn't even in my head, and it's like, I never thought about that. And so I got around a group of people that at my church that they was writing books, and they was like, yo, you should write a book. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, this guy can write a book? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I had an issue with being in school. I'm going to write a book. That's not possible. And so I started telling myself, it's not possible. It's not possible. And so as I kept telling myself that, it wasn't possible.
Wow.
To the point I got to a place where one of my closest buddies, he said, man, I wrote a book. And I was like, cool, let me look at it. And I got the book. I looked at it, bought it, purchased it. And I looked and I was like, oh, it don't seem to be really hard. You didn't really, like, I'm thinking you got to have these 18-letter words and, you know, all these deep concepts and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay, I understand your book. And, you know, his book wasn't that big. It was like that. And, you know, everybody celebrated. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I could possibly do this thing. So I sat out the course of saying, okay, how do you start writing a book? And so I bought a notebook and I just put my pen down and on the paper, and then I closed the notebook and I was like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. This is not gonna happen. I don't know what is there. And all of a sudden, I started to think about, and I, like I said, it's God led. He was like, just write thoughts down. I just started writing bullet thoughts down like I was doing like a presentation. And so I started writing the bullets down and like I was doing a presentation. And then I was like, okay, now talk about the bullets. Like if you was in a presentation, like if you was standing in front of someone,
that's it.
Just talk about the presentation. And I was like, okay. And so I started to just unpack it and just start writing about the bullet. And I was like, this is what I would say. This is what goes on. And I was like, wow. Before I knew it, I had about 10 sheets of paper that I written on. And then I was like, okay, well, we got to put this on, you know, in Word. So I hired my mama.
Smart man.
Right. She was the fastest typer I know. And we sat down a whole night and she typed my whole book. And then I sent it off and, you know, got it to flow. And I was like, wow. And when it came in, I was like, oh, I just wrote a book. And to me, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, okay, I wrote a book, but I didn't think it was a huge thing. Then when I told people, hey, I'm an author, that thing was like way bigger than what it is. Because think about it. I'm telling you, my first book got about 28 pages in it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't thick. It's about 28 pages in it. It barely got an intro of the author. You know, all the structure is not there. But when I presented it to people, people's like, wow. That's crazy. And so I began to understand that I was making myself, or I was limiting myself of what I can do, because I thought writing a book was this huge, you know, mountain that you got to climb over. And people like, you know, say I took about 2-3 years to write a book. And I was like, what? I'll be honest with you. I wrote my first book in 48 hours. I locked down and wrote it in 48 hours because I had the outline, and in 48 hours, I wrote that book. And it was done. And I was like, wow. And so now I got a great motivation about doing it. So my environment wasn't there. So I had to find an environment that will, you know, that foster that idea of writing a book. And so I got around people who wrote a book. And then all of a sudden, you know, my main man right here, Mr. Darren M, they showed up on the scene. And when they showed up on the scene, you know, I'm hearing Darren cracking out books like, pow, 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 pow. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like, okay, I get it, but is it like that? And I was like, you know what? I'm inspired to go and do a book number 2. And it was one thing that you said, Darren, at one of the Greatness Awaits tour, you was like, why are you holding hostage information that would save somebody's life?
That's it.
And when you said that, in the back of the room, I had tears welling up in my eyes. And you said, you are held responsible because you have the information in you that will transform somebody's life. They won't commit suicide. Their marriage will get better. Their life will get better. And I took that, and I was like, I got chills right now talking about it. But I took that and said, you know what? He is right. I've learned some things. I've been through some things that if I get this out of my system and just present it to somebody, I don't know where it would go. I don't know how it would do. If I present it to them, it will come about. And so I had a goal to redo my book. Now you said I got all this stuff happening, you know, with the TV show and all that stuff. And everybody's thinking like, how do you have time? If you really want it, you will make the time.
There you go.
If you really want it, you will set the time aside and get it done. Man, you might have to go buy a hotel room. That's what I did. I bought a hotel room, went to the hotel, locked myself in my hotel, and start writing from sun up to sundown.
Oh, man.
You know, I did what I needed to do because I got to get it out of my system. But you have to, like Darren told us, you have to understand that your story or whatever you about to put out, somebody is waiting on that. And you may think it's like it's small and insignificant. You don't know where it might touch. Right now, my book, the Sore Loser book, I went to Bulgaria and we helped build a kindergarten with the military. And my book is at the kindergarten helping them to learn English.
Wow.
You know?
That's a long way from Memphis.
It's a long way. It's a long way from Memphis. But I wouldn't have known that could be possible.
Yes, it is.
You know? And now my book is with some kids over there. They know Lawrence. You know, they may never seen Lawrence. I don't have a picture of him, that face on there, but they know Lawrence because of his book, and they learn how English flows from my book when they first start learning how to talk. That is ridiculous. And so I'm like, bet this is the opportunity that you have. So writing a book, you know, don't look at all the obstacles. You know, find guys and people like Darren who's the guru in it, and let them help you. And so you can go ahead on and get this story out, because I'm telling you, you may not think it is big, but it's pretty big. It's a big deal.
It's a big thing. And I just want to just commend you on a wonderful job and understand. I want to use the L word right now, and that is for leverage. What you're seeing here with Mr. Lawrence, the underlying message, the common denominator that's stringing all this together and making it cohesive, is making sure that we understand the leverage piece. Okay, it wasn't a book tour that he was on that caused him to be in Bulgaria, but he used his creativity, his higher faculties, to be able to say, you know what, maybe I need to bring my own book over here while I'm over here building the school, or while I'm serving my country. I can give back. Finding opportunities to leverage your message to open up other doors for other people and yourself. It's the law of reciprocity. By you showing love, you're receiving love. It's the law of attraction. Now, we don't know, but instantly, here we are with an individual who has a global impact off a book that he didn't think he could read. A book he didn't think he could write. And then at the same time, it's a book that wasn't even over 50 pages. Most people will say that wasn't a book, but go try and tell one of those young people over in Bulgaria that it's not a book. Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
But if he never would have written the book and took the time out, if he would have felt inferior, if he felt that he was less than, and he wouldn't even gave it a chance opportunity, somebody wouldn't be able to understand the English language. Somebody wouldn't understand what being a sore loser is and how to use that to their benefit if it wasn't for Lawrence taking the time and knew that he had a fiduciary duty to impact the world. And it's also making an impact on him, because now it's not a lot of people who can say from the area he grew up in, not only am I author, but my book is international.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have to be an international bestseller for you to have an international impact. Woo! Don't shut me down.
Hey, love that.
Don't pat me down. You don't got me fired up. I'm about to pass the offering plate right now.
Hey, pass it around. I got my money ready.
But I'm just looking at this. He's making an international impact. And the thing is he's no longer even in that area.
Yeah.
He's not even in that region. And I go back to, I'm in a mastermind group, Lawrence, and one of the gentlemen I read with on a daily basis, at least 5 times a week, we read with each other on the weekdays. And I'm reading a book with him, and I'm reading some books by myself from the 1800s and the early 1900s, like 1903, 1905. And if we do the math, we know that it wasn't self-published in 30 days back then.
Right.
So if the book was published in 1903 or 1905, it was years before that book was written, before it was even able to come to a printing press to even get published.
Right.
And so
Right.
when we look at it, who would have ever known that somebody from Nicaragua and a young African-American male in Texas, a country that a lot of them didn't even know that existed, some of these people we read from, never had even been to America. And the day when we have iPhones and we're doing this meeting, you know what I'm saying, through Zoom or Skype, however we want, whatever we want to use. And these platforms we have, who would have ever known that the same material is being utilized through PDFs, through ebooks. They're still being reprinted. It's out with printing presses touching people around the globe in different languages. Who would have ever known that? And when I look at your story, you don't have to be Malcolm Gladwell. You don't have to be Alex Haley. You don't have to be Terry McMillan. You don't have to be all these other people to make an impact with your book and also open up opportunities for you and your family. And you are the prime example of what can happen if you just walk in your purpose. And speaking of walking in your purpose, how has publishing your book improved your life?
Woo, man. When I say it improved a whole lot, man, it has really improved, especially being like meeting deadlines and holding yourself accountable. Like, it sucks when you tell people, hey, I'm coming out with a book, and then somebody say, well, when the book coming out?
That's
and
it.
You be like, I'm gonna come out with one. They be like, okay, well, when it come out, let me know. So then you come back around, they be like, that book out? You be like, nah, I'm still working on it. Then you come back around again, they be like, that book out? Like, nah, I'm still working on it. Then they stop asking you. At that point in time, you feel that pressure of being held accountable, that when you say something out your mouth, you need to make sure you produce. And so I start to, really be real key in on, if I say something, I must produce it. I got to make it happen. I got to get it done no matter what. Because you know what? People are counting on whatever I say out of my mouth. So it helped me to be a lot more bolder. It helped me to make sure I pay more attention to certain things, make sure I'm very meticulous about certain things. But also, it really opened me up to a lot of avenues and people that I would never shake hands with and touch without this book showing up. When people hear that, they look and say, well, you put forth effort to get something done. You accomplish something. So even when you put it on your application that you wrote a book, it transformed the way people see you, And I was like, I'm like, wow, I didn't think just this going on. And, it really affects everything in my whole life now, how I see things, how I structure things, how I know what's there. And so the book has transformed me a lot as far as with my character, and really helped me to really tackle the guy I call procrastinator a lot. Like, it really helps me to say, okay, when the guy procrastinator want to show up, it's like, Lawrence, you did write a book. Lawrence, you did focus and put, enough energy and effort to get that done. Lawrence, you on book number 2. That is crazy. And it's like, you put forth the effort. So when the guy procrastinator shows up, I have no excuse. I don't agree with him because I have no excuse. He's like, you can't really do that. You can just chill. No, I can do it because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? It's stamped. And so it has transformed my life a lot. And then it really touched my mom, my dad, my sisters, and my niece and nephew. Now they have something that they can go to and look up my ISBN number and say, well, this is my uncle. This is my brother. This is my son. They can look that up and be like, yo, he right here. He wrote this book. This is him. And now they have an opportunity to see something different and say, you know what? When I want to write a book, I have no excuse. And I get off this horse a little bit. I like to say I give people permission. I now give those who in my generation, in my family, that's behind me. I'm the oldest grandson. I'm the oldest grandchild, period, for my granddad and my grandma. And now I give everybody who's behind me to the last one that's been born before Jesus come back, the opportunity to say, you know what? I can look way up ahead. Our cousin, who was the first one, done a book. I now have permission to go do it. and I done transformed the whole bloodline now. And now, when there was limiting beliefs or things that they were saying they couldn't do and get done, now they can get it done.
Wow, wow. And you know what? The legacy piece there that you shared, Lawrence, was so profound to me because I just look at it, it changes the whole trajectory for generations to come because you did. You know, I mean, you did. It's like there's no excuses right now. You know, it's similar, and I'm just going to be honest with it. It's just similar to what happened in the presidency, what you have with when Barack Obama was there. You know, that myth of a black male being president being impossible, it was debunked because that's not an excuse anymore. I mean, you can't say that. You know, I mean, the impossible happens. Or if you just look at the different cases where like it was impossible for something to happen, or if it's Tom Brady playing at the level he's playing at this age in his life, you know, a lot of people say that was impossible. It's so many things that we've seen here recently. Hey, even with Donald Trump getting in there, I mean, I would have thought that would have been impossible. You know, no, period. Just thinking that you're coming from a reality star and the things that happen. And I grew up in a time too where I had watched him run for office before, and you know, just kind of campaign. You know, like Jesse Jackson, different people like. But you never would have thought any of them would have actually won. I didn't personally, but I mean, it's just certain things that we've seen. And now for some of the people who grew up in your area, similar to those cases that I just brought up, they are looking at Lawrence Thompson the same way now.
Yeah.
Wow, I went to school with dude. Whoa, yeah. I remember when he fell out. I remember when the situation happened with his marriage. This guy, what? Yeah. I was just working with him. You know, I was just serving with him. You know, we was in the barracks together. We did this together. We flew. This guy's doing all this. And so that's why I brought Lawrence on. He's a phenomenal individual, but it also gives all of us hope that sometimes the Steve Harveys of the world, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Carlos Slims of the world, the Oprah Winfrey's, they are so far removed for some of us. Even though it's possible, we can't really digest it and accept it in our own personal psyche because it's just like we come up with a reason why they are where they are, which they're human just like us, and they had to take the steps that we got to take. But by seeing someone like Lawrence, who's not that far removed from where you currently are, but he's making it happen where he is. Yeah. What are you going to do to make sure that you carry it and that you explode? And I always say this, you have to move from ordinary lane to reside on extraordinary drive. Mm-hmm. And you must take a different approach with your life like Lawrence did. He got knocked down, but he got up. And Lawrence, while we're on that note, could you let our audience know where they can reach you at? I mean, I want to hear it all, man. I want to hear if it's websites, TV shows. I want you to tell them how they can get T-shirts, some fly hats, how they can get the Sore Loser book, how they can pre-order the new book, anything about you, my brother, speaking engagements, how they can book you, whatever it may be. Could you please share that information to the audience right now?
Okay, yeah. So I'm actually in a retooling thing, retooling right now. So the best way is to get in contact with me in the DM. So go to Instagram.
Slide in the DM, man.
Slide in the DM. You know, go to Instagram and Twitter at I Am Law Jr. And you can find me there. On Facebook is Lawrence Thompson. You can find me there. You can get my email address is Lawrence, LAWRENCE _Thompson, THOMPSON, the number 8 at yahoo.com. You can connect with me there. My book, Sore Loser, is on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon and Kindle. My next book, we haven't launched that out. It's going to be launched October the 28th. We're building the funnel right now to do the pre-orders because I've been reached out about that. So we're building that funnel so we can get the pre-orders going. And those are the ways where you can connect with us right now. Like I said, we're retooling because we want to be more branded. But that's where you can connect with us.
All right. And what about the shows that you're on? Did you share anything about that?
Nah. The TV show is Table Talk with Lawrence. We ended the season.
Okay.
And so now we're transitioning to being more digital. So So now you can connect, straight off stream. So you can find me on Home of the Hustle every Thursday night at 9 Central. If you go on Facebook, look up Home of the Hustle. I'm on there every Thursday. You can also connect with us on YouTube at Minia Media. The Minia Media is MINNENMEDIA, and you'll see Table Talk with Lawrence. So what we're doing is we want to be able to connect. We see our influence happen stronger online, and so we want to be able to go live online and connect more online. So we're shifting to that digital format.
Yeah, digital is where it's at, man. Digital
Yeah.
is where it's at. I mean, that's some of the things that we're doing as well. As soon as we got the author spotlight, that digital key and piece is something that people have on demand as they please, cost efficient, and you get more into your book and more impact. Because people might want to just get your content at 3 a.m. You want to have it available to them, and you don't want to have anybody like me. We're doing this interview that works best for your timing, so we're not stuck at. Well, we got to be here at 8 o'clock because if we're not, we don't miss the whole show. You don't want to stuck like that. You want to have a more liquid plan. So also, hey, I just want you to share with that person out there, Lawrence. I mean, it's somebody who's listening to this interview and they're thinking to themselves like, wow, man, this guy got it going on, man. I mean, dude's brilliant, he's bold, man. He got a lot of stuff going on. He made it to the service. He made it through the divorce. I mean, he got an opportunity, got a TV show, he got 2 books out. Man, this dude is so out of my league. But what can you share with that person? Not to be Lawrence Thompson, but what could you share with them if they're straddling the fence, maybe wanting to write a book, but think that they don't have the credentials that you have? What could you share with them to help them move forward and going ahead and writing the book and sharing their story with the world?
Yeah, I can say this is I was there. I was in the same place. I felt inferior to everybody who was successful. And that came from, environment, upbringing, hearing those words that, Caucasian people are like this, or people who was born into riches are like this. And it doesn't matter what color it is, they succeeded because they had somebody to help them and all that stuff. And those beliefs was inside of my system. And it was causing me to have fear about stepping out and doing something amazing. And so what I want to tell the person is this, is that you matter and you are the person to get it done. The world is not as good if you don't go ahead on and put it out there. When you put it out there and you put your book out there, the world gets better. Don't think that your impact don't shift the whole world. Listen, there was a huge shift around everybody who's in my circle when I started shouting out, "I'm a sore loser." It shifted everybody to where everybody started saying, "I'm a sore loser." Now, I don't know who that rolled off to, what family they had it, and how many people they told or whatever that did to help them, but it shifted the whole world. And so you're so valuable that whatever God placed in you, when he sent you here and you got started, and you was jump started to go, you're here to shift us to a mindset or shift us to a way to even be even better what he preordained for us to be. So don't discredit what you have. Don't downplay you had. Like Darren said, my first book was 28 pages. So don't downplay nothing. You know what I'm saying? Know that you matter. Know that you are the one, and know that when you give your flavor, give your swag, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Can't nobody do it but you. Can't nobody be Lawrence but Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? And when I show up on the scene, and I don't care where I'm at, I don't care who I'm with, when I'm on a panel with a lot of people that are doing way more than me, I still got to say Lawrence got his own fingerprint.
That's it.
And when I come in, I make my own fingerprint. And I'm not intimidated by them because you know what? I know who I am. I love who I am. I appreciate who I am. So don't downplay yourself and just go get the book out. We need you. You necessary. We need it. We need to hear you. We need to hear your message. We need it. It is necessary. We can't go to the next level without you sharing it.
Wow. I just want to tell you, wow, that is nothing but fire. I told you that he would not let us down. I told you before we started this interview, I just want to know that I forewarned you all on the author spotlight that this was going to be an interview that was muy caliente. I've been freshening up on my Spanish, man, going into 2018. I'm going freshening up.
I got you.
But I mean, you did disappoint, and I thank you so much, brother, because you went deep. You went deep, and for those who even been to some of the conferences that we've been at or things like that, and we'll say that for another show, but Lawrence shared so much wealth on this interview. I mean, I'm looking at, I'm just thinking about my notes that I was able to get. Some of you might have been looking at it. You know, I'm paying attention, but I was actually tweeting out. I was actually sending out. I was actually posting stuff on Instagram of some of the nuggets that I was getting. I even put some on my Snapchat because, see, I saved some of those information, that digital content, to be able to have. I mean, because it was so rich in content, what he was sharing about us, how to overcome extraordinary obstacles, how to think and how to look at yourself, realizing that your self-worth, all these things in the society that we live in now, if you don't have this type of body size, if you got a gray hair, if your waistline isn't this, if you're not this color, if your hair isn't this long, and blase, if you don't drive this Maserati, you nobody, or whatever it may be. And so we have a world that people are just caught up in, fantasy and reality TV, and that work ethic, that grind that he stands for is letting us know, yes, this man was able to get up off the canvas of life when he got knocked down, but he got up, but he had a strong work ethic to say, you know what, I'm giving my all. And the last part of what he shared to me was so significant, and I want you to leave with this. Stop waiting for you to think that you are an expert. You become an expert by doing.
Yeah.
You're not an expert without doing. So many of us are saying, well, I'm not going to write the book because I haven't done enough. Well, by you doing something, by getting a book out, that is raising up your status to the point where people are able to say, wow, this person is a finisher. They're a closer. They're a cool. They can get stuff done. They're making more of an impact. You're getting more opportunities to spread the word, but you get better and become an expert by doing. Why is he having TV shows? By doing. Why is he on this show? By doing. Why was he at the conferences that we invited him to? Because he was doing. He didn't have to have all the money in the world. He didn't have to have a Bentley, but because he started doing, he has had the law of attraction pull people to him because he is actually doing, and it's allowing for other people who are doers as well to unite with him and connect with him to make a bigger impact across the globe. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much, Lawrence, for coming on the show. Man, we really appreciate you so much. Did you have any last words for the people before we left?
Yeah, well, my thing is how I always sign out. I want to end with that, but I want to thank you for allowing me to come on. I want to thank everybody who's been listening, everybody who's taken on what we've been saying. We don't take it as being, very light that we're doing something and we're speaking into your life to see your life go to the next level. We really do impact it. So I want to just thank you for allowing me there. And like I say all the time, man, all the time with everybody, man, we may not be the solution, but we will be an antidote. I'm your boy, Lawrence. Love hard, love God.
Oh, man, that's it, man. You heard it from a man, Lawrence. And for all those of you who are participating and then coming on for this interview, just want to let you know you can find out more information about us at our YouTube page at DMP Enterprises. Also, for those who want to get a book out, want to be like Lawrence, want to be a change agent and get it done like the other people, find out more about us and our company at self-published, the letter N30days.com. Me or a member of my team would love to help facilitate you going to the next level and sharing your story with the world. Other than that, thank you for another episode. You know where we will be, the same time, same station. You can find us on the YouTube channel, or you can find us on Facebook, any carriers where you find digital imprint. You can find more about us by tuning in every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for another episode. But once again, thank you, Lawrence. Please, go and give them the military salute, man, as we end the show. All right. All right, man. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.